Page 4 of The Adventures of Master F.J. by George Gascoigne. This Librivox Recording is in the public domain. This said, she kept silence, when Fernando, somewhat astonied with her strange speech, thus answered: Mistress, although I cannot conceive the meaning of your words, yet by courtesy I am constrained to yield you thanks for your good will, the which appeareth no less in lamenting of mishaps, than in rejoicing at good fortune. What experiment you mean to try by me, I know not, but I dare assure you that my skill in experiments is very simple. Herewith the instruments sounded a new measure, and they passed forwards, leaving to talk, until the noise ceased. Which done, the gentlewoman replied, I am sorry, sir, that you did erewhile deny love and all his laws, and that in so open audience. Not so, quod Fernando, but as the word was roundly taken, so can I readily answer it by good reason. Well, quod she, how if the hearers will admit no reasonable answer? My reasons yet be nevertheless, quod he, in reasonable judgment. Herewith she smiled, and he cast a glance towards Dame Elinor. Ah, ascances, art thou pleased? Again the viols called them forthwards, and again at the end of the brawl, said Fernando Jeronimi to this gentlewoman, I pray you, mistress, and what may be the second cause of your sorrow sustained in my behalf? Nay, soft, quod she, percase I have not yet told you the first, but content yourself, for the second cause you shall never know at my hands, until I see due trial of the experiment which I have long desired. Why then, quod he, I can but wish a present occasion to bring the same to effect, to the end that I might also understand the mystery of your meaning. And so might you fail of your purpose, quod she, for I mean to be better assured of him that shall know the depth of mine intent in such a secret, than I do suppose that any creature, one except, may be of you. Gentlewoman, quod he, you speak Greek, the which I have now forgotten, and mine instructors are too far from me at this present to expound your words, or else too near, quod she, and so smiling stayed her talk, when the music called them to another dance. Which ended, Fernando, half afraid of false suspect, and more amazed at this strange talk, gave over, and bringing Mistress Frances to her place, was thus saluted by his mistress. Servant, quod she, I have done you great wrong to have danced with you, considering that this gentlewoman and you had former occasion of so weighty conference. Mistress, said Fernando, you had done me great pleasure, for by our conference I have but brought my brains in a busy conjecture. I doubt not, said his mistress, but you will end that business easily. It is hard, said he, to end the thing, whereof yet I have found no beginning. His mistress, with change of countenance, kept silence, whereat Dame Frances, rejoicing, cast out this bone to gnaw on. I perceive, quod she, it is evil to halt before a cripple. Fernando, perceiving now that his mistress waxed angry, thought good on her behalf thus to answer, and it is evil to hop before them that run for the bell. His mistress replied, and it is evil to hang the bell at their heels which are always running. The lord of the castle, overhearing these proper quips, rose out of his chair, and coming towards Fernando, required him to dance a galliard. Sir, said he, I have hitherto at your appointment but walked about the house. Now if you be desirous to see one tumble a turn or twain, it is like enough that I might provoke you to laugh at me. But in good faith my dancing days are almost done, and therefore, sir, quod he, I pray you speak to them that are more nimble at tripping on the toe. Whilst he was thus saying, Dame Elinor had made her congé, and was now entering the door of her chamber, when Fernando, all amazed at her sudden departure, followed to take leave of his mistress. But she more than angry, refused to hear his good night, and entring her chamber caused her maid to clap to the door. Ferdinando with heavy cheer returned to his company, and Mistress Frances, to touch his sore with a corrosive, said to him softly in this wise: Sir, you may now perceive that this our country cannot allow the French manner of dancing, for they, as I have heard tell, do more commonly dance to talk, than entreat to dance. Ferdinando, hoping to drive out one nail with another, and thinking this a mean most convenient to suppress all jealous supposes, took Mistress Frances by the hand, and with a heavy smile answered, Mistress and I, because I have seen the French manner of dancing, will eftsoons entreat you to dance a barginet. What mean you by this, quod Mistress Frances? If it please you to follow, quod he, you shall see that I can jest without joy, and laugh without lust. And calling the musicians, caused them softly to sound the tinternel, when he, clearing his voice, did a la Napolitana apply these verses following, unto the measure. In prime of lusty years, when Cupid caught me in, and nature taught the way to love, how I might best begin, to please my wandring eye, in beauty's tickle trade, to gaze on each that passed by, a careless sport I made. With sweet enticing bait, I fished for many a dame, and warmed me by many a fire, yet felt I not the flame. But when at last I spied that face that pleased me most, the coals were quick, the wood was dry, and I began to toast. And smiling yet full oft, I have beheld that face, when in my heart I might bewail mine own unlucky case. And oft again with looks that might bewray my grief, I pleaded hard for just reward, and sought to find relief. What will you more? So oft my gazing eyes did seek, to see the rose and lily strive upon that lively cheek, till at the last I spied, and by good proof I found, that in that face was painted plain the piercer of my wound. Then all too late aghast, I did my foot retire, and sought with secret sighs to quench my greedy scalding fire. But lo, I did prevail, as much to guide my will, as he that seeks with halting heel to hop against the hill. Or as the feeble sight would search the sunny beam, even so I found but labour lost to strive against the stream. Then gan I thus resolve, since liking forced love, should I mislike my happy choice before I did it prove? And since none other joy I had but her to see, should I retire my deep desire? No, no, it would not be, though great the duty were, that she did well deserve. And I poor man unworthy am, so worthy a wight to serve. Yet hope my comfort stayed, that she would have regard to my good will, that nothing craved, but like for just reward. I see the falcon gent sometime will take delight to seek the solace of her wing, and dally with a kite. The fairest wolf will choose the foulest for her make, and why? Because he doth endure most sorrow for her sake. Even so had I like hope, when doleful days were spent, when weary words were wasted well, to open true intent. When floods of flowing tears had washed my weeping eyes, when trembling tongue had troubled her with loud lamenting cries. At last her worthy will would pity this my plaint, and comfort me, her own poor slave, whom fear had made so faint. Wherefore I made a vow, the stony rock should start, ere I presume to let her slip out of my faithful heart. L'Envoy. And when she saw by proof the pith of my good will, she took in worth this simple song, for want of better skill. And as my just deserts, her gentle heart did move, she was content to answer thus, I am content to love. F.J. By these verses he meant in clouds to decipher unto Mistress Frances such matter as she would snatch at, and yet could take no good hold of the same. Furthermore, it answered very aptly to the note which the music sounded, as the skilful reader by due trial may approve. This singing dance, or dancing song, ended, Mistress Frances, giving due thanks, seemed weary also of the company, and proffering to depart, gave yet this farewell to Ferdinando, not vexed by choler, but pleased with contentation, and called away by heavy sleep. I am constrained, quod she, to bid you good night, and so turning to the rest of the company, took her leave. Then the master of the house commanded a torch to light Ferdinando to his lodging, where the sudden change of his mistress' countenance, together with the strangeness of Mistress Frances' talk, made such an encounter in his mind, that he could take no rest that night. Wherefore in the morning, rising very early, although it were far before his mistress' hour, he cooled his choler by walking in the gallery near to her lodging, and there in this passion compiled these verses following. A cloud of care hath covered all my coast, and storms of strife do threaten to appear. The waves of woe, which I mistrusted most, have broke the banks wherein my life lay clear. Chips of ill chance are fallen amid my choice, to mar the mind that meant for to rejoice. Before I sought, I found the haven of hap, wherein once found I sought to shroud my ship. But lowering love hath lift me from her lap, and crabbed lot begins to hang the lip. The props of dark mistrust do fall so thick, they pierce my coat and touch my skin at quick. What may be said, where truth cannot prevail? What plea may serve, where will itself is judge? What reason rules, where right and reason fail? Remediless then must the guiltless trudge, and seek out care, to be the carving knife, to cut the thread that lingereth such a life. F.J. This is but a rough metre, and reason, for it was devised in great disquiet of mind and written in rage. But to the matter. End of page 4.